Hello everyone, my name is Mehek Basi. I'm one of the first-year gastroenterology fellows at St. Peter's University Hospital. My topic of today's journal club is long-term outcomes of early versus delayed responders to Vedolizumab and Adalimumab, a recently published article in American Journal of Gastroenterology authored by Neeraj Narula et al. When we talk about moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, speed of onset is an important consideration, where response needs to occur within days to weeks, because patients may be hospitalized, exposed to high-dose steroids, and considered for colectomy. There are some patients in whom resolution of symptoms is delayed, which can result in extended exposure to steroids and introduction of concomitant immunosuppression, before deciding whether the index biological should be continued or switched. What is unclear, however, is whether delayed responders to therapy are still able to achieve as durable a response as those who attain response earlier. The aim of the study is to compare long-term efficacy between patients with ulcerative colitis who attain early partial Mayo Score remission on Vedolizumab or Adalimumab therapy and those who achieve delayed partial Mayo Score remission. Data from patients treated with Vedolizumab and Adalimumab in patients with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis were obtained from the VARSITY study. The study population included adult patients with total Mayo Score of 6 to 12, therefore moderate to severely active ulcerative colitis. Patients had inadequate response to conventional therapy such as immunomodulators or glucocorticoids, and patients with anti-TNF failure were eligible. Endoscopic assessments were performed at baseline, week 14, and week 52. The primary exposure of interest was the time that partial Mayo Score remission was attained. Early partial Mayo Score remission was defined as partial Mayo Score of less than or equal to 1 attained at week 4 or 6 of therapy. Late partial Mayo Score remission was defined as partial Mayo Score less than or equal to 1 at week 14. Early versus late partial Mayo Score remission was compared for patients attaining partial Mayo Score remission with standard doses of Vedolizumab and with Adalimumab. The primary outcome of interest was clinical remission at week 52. Secondary outcomes were evaluated, including comparisons of 1-year endoscopic improvement and histoendoscopic mucosal improvement. Baseline characteristics of the patients treated with Vedolizumab and Adalimumab who attained early or late partial Mayo Score remission in the VARSITY study were generally similar. From 383 participants treated with Vedolizumab, 25% achieved partial Mayo Score remission at week 4 or 6, and 13% achieved partial Mayo Score remission at week 14. Clinical remission at 52 weeks was noted in 69.1% of the participants with early partial Mayo Score remission on Vedolizumab as compared to 50% of the patients with delayed partial Mayo Score remission. Similarly, histoendoscopic mucosal improvement was observed significantly more often in participants with early partial Mayo Score remission than in those with late partial Mayo Score remission and remained significant after adjustment within the multivariate model. None of the 25 delayed partial Mayo Score remitters who were in week 52 remission had Mayo 3 endoscopic disease at week 14. 44% of delayed partial Mayo Score remitters who did not achieve clinical remission at week 52 had Mayo 3 endoscopic disease at week 14. Notably, nearly half of delayed partial Mayo Score remitters with fecal calprotectin greater than or equal to 250 at week 14 still achieved clinical remission at week 52. No significant differences in fecal calprotectin levels were observed between delayed partial Mayo Score remitters who did not achieve week 52 remission compared with those who achieved. Another sensitivity analysis was performed using a definition for early partial Mayo Score remission as week 2 or 4 instead of week 4 or 6. There were 62 participants who had attained partial Mayo Score remission at week 2 or 4 and 85 who were in partial Mayo Score remission at week 14. Vedolizumab treated patients who attained early partial Mayo Score remission at week 2 or 4 were more likely to attain week 52 clinical remission, week 52 endoscopic improvement, and week 52 histoendoscopic mucosal improvement compared with those with late partial Mayo Score remission. Among the 386 patients treated with Adalimumab in the VARSITY study, a total of 110 patients were included in the analysis. 17% attained early partial Mayo Score remission and 11.4% attained late partial Mayo Score remission. No significant difference was observed for week 52 clinical remission among delayed and early partial Mayo Score remission. Regarding endoscopic improvement at week 52, no difference was observed between delayed and early partial Mayo Score remitters. Similarly, for histoendoscopic mucosal improvement at week 52, no significant difference was observed between delayed and early remitters. Among Adalimumab treated patients who had delayed partial Mayo Score remission at week 14 but did not achieve week 52 remission, 35.2% had Mayo 3 endoscopic disease at week 14. Only 3.7% of delayed remitters who did achieve week 52 remission had Mayo 3 endoscopic disease at week 14. A strategy of waiting to see delayed partial Mayo Score remission in most of the patients who do not achieve partial Mayo Score remission within 6 weeks will benefit very few patients at 1 year. Among patients treated with either of these therapies, physicians must therefore cautiously balance the likelihood of delayed partial Mayo Score response beyond week 6 against risk for disease flare or worsening that may result in hospitalization or emergent need of colectomy. Premature discontinuation of biological agent may be problematic, as returning to an agent may not be possible due to development of immunogenicity or perceived lack of efficacy. Therefore, emphasis is being placed on allowing sufficient treatment time for response to capture those with delayed response to therapy and avoid premature treatment discontinuation. This strategy needs to be balanced against the risk of prolonging ineffective therapy. This study has several strengths, including the clinical trial data set used, blinded central scoring for histoendoscopic outcome assessments, and consistency of observations even after adjusting for potential confounders. This study is not without limitations. As endoscopy was not available at a time point earlier than week 14, the authors were unable to evaluate alternative definitions of remission based on the total Mayo Score. Most notably, this study should be considered hypothesis generating because the original trial was not designed to address this specific question. Higher rates of previous anti-TNF failure were observed in delayed partial Mayo Score remitters to Vedolizumab, which could partially account for the lower rates of clinical and endoscopic improvement that were observed in this group compared with those who attained early partial Mayo Score remission. In summary, patients with ulcerative colitis who achieve early partial Mayo Score remission with Vedolizumab have greater odds of week 52 remission compared with delayed responders. This data may help clinicians when managing patients who are slow to demonstrate improvement to therapy, particularly with Vedolizumab. This slide concludes my presentation. I want to thank Dr. Ali and South Asian IBD Alliance for providing me an opportunity to present this highly valuable article. I will look forward to discussing it further on the Twitter group. Thank you.